Welcome to Engagement Using Discussions, Part 1, Promoting Critical Thinking. The outcomes for this professional development session are to explain the importance of discussions, create discussion questions that promote critical thinking, model appropriate engagement with participants in course content, and synthesize a single SLO with the discussion board activity. Just before this session, there was a Google survey you were asked to take. If you did not take it, click the pause button and please take it now. Thank you for taking the survey. You may be asking yourself, why did we have you take it? Well, the purpose of the MIST quiz was to address any preconceived ideas you may have prior to taking and completing this professional development session. For the first survey question, there are some students who may believe incorrectly that their discussion board posts are anonymous. As the instructor, you have the opportunity to make sure all students understand that any posts have the author's name associated with them. This is also an opportunity for you to discuss proper etiquette and discussion, as well as reminders about grammar. There are many reasons why you should use discussions in Canvas, and as you do so, it is important that you provide students with discussion questions that promote critical thinking. A few things to keep in mind to help you do that are: ask open-ended questions that ask why rather than what. Ask questions that relate to course content and student learning outcomes. Directly solicit interaction from other participants by using prompts along the lines of, please respond to 2 other students' posts. And ask questions that attempt to connect students' real-world experience to practical application or to course content. A very important guideline to keep in mind as you are writing your questions is if your question will result in the same response from every student, it is not a good discussion question. Let's now take a look at some question examples. After the examples, you will be asked to write your first question. The first question we are looking at is, based on these readings and the lecture videos for this week, discuss what you feel the role of the manager should be in the 21st century. Pause for a minute, really pause. Is this a quality-focused question that promotes student engagement? The question is not a quality-focused question that promotes student engagement. So, why is it a bad question? Using the word feel in questions does not encourage students to approach questions from an analytical perspective. The readings and videos used by this instructor show one biased perspective, and the question models a narrow point of view. Remember, engagement and critical thinking. Pause and think about what might be a better way to phrase the question. One example of a rewrite. After reading about the role of the manager as outlined in the other materials, and considering the poor performance of several businesses within the United States as outlined in blank, do you think managers should have a role in organizational changes? Explain. Another example could be, what do you consider as a viable solution to poor performance of businesses? Share any resources that may be of interest to other students. The second question is, based on the lecture videos, do you feel political reforms have gone too far, or do they still have an important place in 21st century education? Based on the required readings, do you feel progressive philosophy should still play a role in 21st century education? Pause for a minute. Is this a quality-focused question that promotes student engagement? The question is not a quality-focused question that promotes student engagement. But why is it a bad question? To begin, the questions are closed. A quick yes or no or a couple of words will answer the questions. Also, the first question is leading. Do you think reforms have gone too far? The content is biased and suggests that progressive reform is bad. The essay is overtly critical of the progressive education movement, which is fine if there were resources provided to portray additional perspectives. Pause and think about what might be a better way to phrase the question. One example of a rewrite might be, what are examples of education reforms put forth by leaders in the progressive era that are evident in policy of U.S. public schools today? Discuss. Another example is, are these policies still applicable to learners' needs? Why or why not? The idea of this session is to think about your discussions in Canvas and how to get your students to think critically. You now have an opportunity to create a discussion prompt or question for one of your classes and share it with your colleagues. Please do not copy and paste a question you are currently using. Apply the information included in this session. After you've posted your discussion question, review the questions submitted by others and provide positive constructive feedback to your colleagues by suggesting edits to phrasing, length, clarity, and content relevance. To access discussions for this session, click Discussions Part 1.